we're less like argumentative about what gets in or what, part we're obsessed with that we want to shoe in. Like, I feel like that's a very common thing when it's writing, but I think we've really come to a consensus that we just want to write the best song we can that's conveying it in the easiest way to convey it. And I think we've really come together now to do our best. Like, obviously there's still difficulties in writing in a group. There's also difficulties in writing by yourself. So it's just like a nice process to have someone to lean on as well.
This is All About the Song.
Welcome to the 127th episode of All About the Song. I am your host, Michael McDonnell, and thank you for joining us. On the podcast today, we have Sally Shaar, Zach Zanardo, and Jordan Circosta of the band Monowhales. They released their new album, Daytona Bleach, available everywhere. It has some fantastic songs. Actually, every single one of the songs is absolutely amazing. Do yourselves a favor after you listen to this episode, of course. Go listen to the album, download it, buy it. It's everywhere that you would listen to music. Check it out. It's worth your while. The band have been on this podcast before. They were on episode 6, one in the middle, and today the band continues to grow. I enjoy all three of these human beings so much. They are a story I follow with such passion. They're so sincere in their craft. I love each and every one of them, and I'm so happy that they continue to rise. And now a quick word from our friends and sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Hailed, which is a coffee shop located at Yonge and Gerrard in the downtown Toronto area. If you are a coffee drinker, you must try Hailed. They are ranked consistently among the top 10 coffee houses in Toronto. Visit the store and support local Toronto-based businesses. Be sure to place your order at www.hailed.ca. This episode is also brought to you by Flickly. Thank you, Richard Atkin, friend of the podcast. We really appreciate your support for the Canadian music scene. Rich is the founder and CEO of Flickly, a premier video animation studio, working with large brands and enterprises across the globe. Learn more about Rich and his work at Flickly by going to the website flickly.com, FLIKLI.com, and connect with Richard Atkin on LinkedIn. This podcast is on both audio and video. If you are watching the YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification button so that you are abreast of all the episodes that we do. And if you're listening to audio, rate and subscribe. This podcast continues to grow, and thank you for being along the journey with it. So here we are, episode 128 of All About the Song with the Monowhales. Congratulations to the three of you. Daytona Bleach is out. This is fantastic. You were in the Toronto Star. That touched me in a way of just waking up in the morning and seeing the paper before going to school. Like, yeah, that's so cool. How is it? How do you feel? And what's it been like? It's been 24 hours since the album has debuted to the world.
I don't know. Like, I feel overwhelmed with love, and I feel overwhelmed with exhaustion. That exhaustion is fueled by like passion and power. So I think we're not done. Like the engine is still running. We've still got a lot to do. So there's no rest for the wicked. Is that
Call me wicked.
But it's been so positive. Like the feedback has only been positive. So I think we're all just like, damn sick. Like people don't hate it.
No, well, I mean, I've been following your careers for a very long time. And one of the things that has been really great is I no longer go, oh, this is my friend's band, Monowhales. Like now, and I don't call you anymore every time I hear your song on the radio either, which I stop myself from.
Do
Well, it's and I told you guys I had a friend working on a job site that was like down the street from me, and there was a construction worker singing along to Really Want to Let You Down, and I had to, like, as I was talking to my friend, I'm like, I haven't been listening to you for the last 30 seconds because just there's this guy drywalling a ceiling upstairs singing Really Want to Let You Down, and I'm blown away. But it's just what's really nice is that you guys are just nothing but quality, but also it's not as I was saying before, it's not my friend's band. It's you guys are just a band. You just are. And the quality and of the content has been there for so long now. It's just exciting to see how you continue to grow.
So what you're saying is we've achieved existence. We are a real band now.
But you know what? It's funny because I think that we've all probably grappled with the concept of that like we've grappled with the thought of how we're considered by others in a sense, and we've all rolled our eyes at being called local or something like that, something that somebody may say that you don't take as a slight in a sense, but there is that hump that you have to get over. You guys have established yourselves as a premier band that you have fans, and there's a standard that you hold for yourselves, but it's just expected from a listening audience. And you've continued to deliver. It's amazing.
We appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Yeah, that means a lot. I wasn't just fucking with you. It is a real thing. Like you kind of you sort of like level up bit by bit as you spend time doing this, and yeah, it does feel like we've especially in the past year or two sort of moved forward in a way that is significant. At least like we can feel it a little bit on our end.
Well, I notice it because I talked to Soren Del Monte, who we've talked about in every episode with you guys, I think, and he and I were kind of laughing. We went for an outdoor beer a couple of months ago, and he was saying, he's like, it's kind of crazy and fun to watch the Monowhales blow up because it's the same thing it's always been. It's just that people are noticing in a different way than they did before.
Wow, that is nice to hear.
Yeah, that's really kind of him to say.
Yeah. Also, like, we just are so down on ourselves all the time that, like, to hear that is nice from like you guys who have been around for a long while, because we're just like, everything we've done sucks. Everything in the past sucks. Just like musician, artist gripe. So it is nice to hear that.
It's I think the special thing, and Soren obviously was an insider. Like, to hear someone say that they're still the same as they always were, that's special to me, because sometimes I wonder, have we lost that like innocence of what we were when it was just exciting to be a group of people playing music together. And it's nice that, people are recognizing that there's that same passion that's been there since day one. That's actually like, wow, this is like such a nice morning, Mike. You're doing all the good things.
Well, I'm glad, but I have heard stories of other artists in the past that I guess I've had friends that have met an artist at a venue like the Cathedral that no longer exists, but where they were able to talk to them and stuff. And then perhaps they're playing at Massey Hall and the experience of the opinion of the artist had drastically changed and it let them down. I've never thought for a second that would ever be a situation for you just based on your characters as human beings. But it is something that I think you should reflect on as a positive thing, because you three are the same people, even though you continue to be the same to more.
Mm-hmm.
True enough.
I know that it's true because I speak to Soren every single day. So if they're saying that, then I don't take it lightly. Like, it means a lot to hear that from someone so special that was both in the band. If you guys didn't know, the old Monowhales, and also
Ginger ale.
and also still a special friend. So I don't know how I could ever be anything else, at least with them. Like, how could I be anything else with Soren? Like, you know, you have friends that are your friends for life, and you, like, I don't know how someone can make that shift in a relationship to not be cool to their friends. Anyways.
Well, no, I think that you guys have as much as you guys are fun and lighthearted, you also you take yourselves seriously, but I think it's the art and the craft you take seriously. You're not here for the accolades, though they are nice. You know, the grade 4 in me is so pumped for you. You're in the Toronto Star. That's just so amazing. I want to ask with regards to, and we've all beaten the COVID-19 story to death in a sense, but because you have released an album throughout this period, what I wanted to ask is, how did the pandemic impact the release, or how are you able to develop this album throughout having to deal with a pandemic at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, it delayed it, that's for sure, delayed the release, but I feel like it also put us in a position where we were forced to try some new things we had never done before. And given us, you know, obviously we would have been on the road and had less time to think about some of the other like marketing things we've done around this album. And yeah, I'm happy in a sense that we got the chance to like do stuff like the storefront installation and the projections that we were doing over the past couple of nights and all that stuff. I don't know if that would have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. And now they're little ideas that we can carry forward as things return to normal, and it'll just make the future releases even more interesting.
Well, especially, yeah, that's the thing. Once you do it, you know how to do it. So you can add it into your repertoire in a sense. When did you guys start this process of this album?
The recording? Or
yeah.
Technically would have been, because we did really well. Sorry? Good.
February 2019. We flew in Ryan Worsley to just record a couple songs. Really Want to Let You Down and Know What the Old. And then we decided to record the rest of the record with him in the fall of 2019 during our Canada-wide tour. We took like a break in Vancouver for 3 weeks and recorded the rest of the record.
I remember that. I think we talked just after that on our second podcast that I did with Jordan and Sally. So it's really great that you found. Oh wait, hold on one second. Do you guys? I'm totally railroading this. Have you ever seen the longboarder that sings opera that goes around the city?
Yes.
He's passing my window right now.
Amazing.
With this process, so you did 2 songs. The 2 songs you mentioned off the top are 2 of the singles on the album that came out before the whole release. What was it that you saw in him that you wanted to continue working with him?
It was just a chill process. He was good vibes. We really liked the quality of his work. He kind of like took us to a level that we wanted to get to after doing the album Control Freak. And it was a good time. And we were stoked to go out in BC and spend time just living there. That was great.
Mm-hmm. He had done work with Deer Rouge and what was the other?
Brave Shores.
Yeah, sorry. Which I love. So just knowing the work that he'd done with them, I was really personally excited to work with Ryan, seeing what he can do, because that Deer Rouge record is fire, you know?
Yeah.
Say
the 2 songs, Really Want to Let You Down, that's been on my Spotify playlist for, I don't know, like 8 or 9 months. I don't think of it as the 3 of you that did it. What a huge song. Where did that song come from, in a sense? How did it develop inside?
Really Want to Let You Down?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was Zach and I, like literally right after we finished recording Control Freak, like we were about to go on tour around the release of that album. And we wrote that song after a really like not fruitful day of writing. It was like a very frustrating day where we couldn't write anything. It was kind of like warm out and we were just like in the rehearsal space and trying to do stuff and nothing was coming. We were sort of burnt out from being in the studio, like working on Control Freak and putting all that stuff together to release it. So yeah, we went out and ate hamburgers, really dirty, greasy hamburgers from a place. Can I say the place? Can I say like the name of a business on this?
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't say they're dirty. They're delicious.
Yeah, they're so good. Top Gun burgers and steaks or something like that, I think it's called. There's one in Kensington, but we went to the one in Scarborough. And yeah, we were eating these burgers and started singing some covers. And then Zach played me a voice memo of something he had written on piano, right, Zach?
Yeah. I used to be a music teacher. And when I wasn't teaching, like if I had a gap during my schedule, I would go to a piano room because it's always fun to play a real piano and just pretend I'm a cat and hit keys. And the Really Want to Let You Down came out of that, actually. So I kind of mumbled my way through an idea to Jordan. He's like, "What'd you say? Beat up?" And I was like, "Sure. Okay, cool. Beat up." And then literally the words just came out of both of our mouths. We were just riffing off of each other and we had the verse, pre-chorus, the chorus, and a real vibe that we felt like, whoa, this is something, just on acoustic guitars. And we showed Sally, and she killed it with the second verse and the nice ooh, ooh. And that one just like came together. We were about to go on tour, as Jordan said, and we needed an arrangement. And within a couple hours, we had one, just working in the rehearsal space. And that basically is what the recording is on your Spotify playlist, with a couple extra pretty things Brian added. But it like happened so fast and felt so good from day one. The whole, like every date of the tour, everyone singing along already by the second chorus. We just knew that song was going to be really special.
It's got to be great to start a new album in a sense, or like a new chapter of the band with something that you know is working.
It is. We've actually been lucky that the songs that are usually the strongest are the ones we tend to write first, which is not usually how it goes. But with Control Freak, like Take It Back was one of the first songs we did. Not exactly the first, but one of the first songs in that batch. And Take It Back ended up being like the most successful song on that record. And then same with this one, Really Want to Let You Down was the first out of this batch.
It's a huge song. I gotta say, like, yeah, when we did episode 6 of this podcast, some 100 episodes ago with Zach and Sally, we discussed the way that the band works on songs where you take an approach by committee through the whole thing. As you've developed throughout the years, is that approach still the same?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've gotten better at it, though. We're less like argumentative about what gets in or what, part we're obsessed with that we want to shoe in. Like, I feel like that's a very common thing when it's writing, but I think we've really come to a consensus that we just want to write the best song we can that's conveying it in the easiest way to convey it. And I think we've really come together now to do our best. Like, obviously there's still difficulties in writing in a group. There's also difficulties in writing by yourself. So it's just like a nice process to have someone to lean on as well.
Yeah, I think like a big thing, the leaning on is helpful because like it just becomes that much more special of a song when all of us are putting our souls into it, I think. And we all bring something special to the table, which is nice too, different strong suits. And I think we like, since we talked that first time, I think the biggest difference is there's a lot more trust with one another and mutual trust. And it's a lot easier to collaborate that way. And that's been great.
Well, I'm glad to hear, because I'll be honest, a bit of me, when I heard the two of you discuss the writing by committee, I thought to myself, like, ooh, I don't like, how do you sustain that? Because people grow and develop, and you can go this, like, you can branch out or you can solidify, which you have. But it's something that as I continue to do this podcast and the things of conversations that I think of and still deliberate in my head, I got to say that songwriting by committee, the way you have done it, I don't want to say you've proved me wrong, because I've always believed in you. I just know that that's not easy to do, and it adds another element of why your success is so amazing, because that one thing is why so many bands don't continue, because they cannot agree. And at one point or another, and we've seen multiple Canadian bands break up citing artistic difference through the pandemic and stuff. And it's a real accolade that you continue to develop. And I'm sure it's not easy, but it's really great that you continue to, stick to your initial principles.
Yeah, it takes sacrifice and like it takes patience as well, and like a willingness to just make room to understand other people, which can be hard sometimes, because like art is about connecting to yourself. Yeah. And then there's a lot of you in the ideas you put forward. But I think through learning to write together, we've sort of learned how to sort of know, like, the ideas are just, I don't want to downplay them. Like, obviously they're important, but you're just trying, like, you're just like tossing things into this fire to see what's going to blow it up, and it might not be that thing you got really excited about. It might be the next thing that you haven't even thought about yet. So when you put yourself in that mindset of like, this thing I have now isn't the be all end all, maybe the next thing is, or maybe someone's going to say something to me that's going to push me towards an even better thing, then it does feel like a group of people, like a team, just pushing towards a common goal that like everyone's egos bundled into it, but isn't hinged on any one individual person.
It's got to feel great. I mean, I think that, yeah, totally. I think that it's amazing that, as you continue to work on that principle, that you kind of meld together and win as a team. It's just a really hard thing to do. And I think that the reason I bring it up is to commend you on that process, because a lot of times that would never fly. And I have people that I play with previously that we still have artistic differences that come out in conversation over nothing.
We do too.
Yeah, we are not like all peace all the time. I'll admit that, like, if we want to be real about this. But I think that we are more peace than we've ever been before. And I think that's just part of like growing up and just, yeah, I think Zach said it well, like trusting each other and caring about each other and not wanting to like make someone feel like shit about an idea that they had. Like, I think we're just come to a place where that's more important, is not hurting someone's feelings over art than just sticking your thing into it, which like is a thing sometimes when you're trying to make art.
Yeah, I think another big thing too is like, I think the process like is all about allowing space for other people, where like, and I think it's often difficult for collaboration, and I think the more difficult parts of collaboration for us is when any one of us brings in more of a like complete idea, like very complete. It's hard for other people to be involved, and especially if they're not even that into it, it just becomes that much more of an awkward situation where there are actual artistic differences, and or maybe some people don't vibe off of it as much. Whereas, so a song like Over My Head on this new record, which you should check out, that was written, oh nice, number 5, should be number 1. that was like the most collaborative song, and I think like that one was the last song. No, it wasn't the last song. All or Nothing would have been the last song, right? No,
I Wait technically would have been
technically
the last
I Wait. Also the first song. Actually, that's a good conversation too. Anyways, where I was going is we wrote that with a German producer just for fun. Our publisher threw us in a room with this guy, and that introduced us to a different mindset of just being in the room in the moment. And the object is let's just have fun and make a song and not be, can I swear?
Of course.
Little bitches about it. And it all happened so fast. We're all there and we're all just putting in ideas that end up working really well and vibing off of each other. And it created an environment where we all felt, I think for the first time, like this is really all of our song and we're all involved and we could all connect. And right away, we just loved the song and started playing it live. And it's great. And moving forward, that's how we've been writing a lot more recently too. So it's cool.
Yeah, I love that song.
Mm-hmm. She loves it. See?
It's not a single, so check it out. That's
I got it. The thing I like about this album, not to say anything different from your other releases, is that all the songs are very strong.
Thank you.
You picked really good singles, but if you got like that Beatles treatment where they would have plucked, Really Want to Let You Down and been like, all right, now do an album, I don't think you guys would have struggled per se.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice to say. We're very thankful for Really Want to Lay Down being on this album, though, for Spotify reasons. But we won't,
for every reason.
We won't get into it. For every reason.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like I think we set out to write strong songs, obviously, but I think it's also that because we love playing live so much, we have a tendency to try to make all the songs like really bangerific all the time. Like we don't have a lot of patience for ballads, which is probably why you've never heard one from us. I want to get there eventually. Like I feel like that's sort of one of the next steps for this band is to like, we sort of dabbled in it when we did that acoustic version of Really Want to Let You Down. Like that was sort of like, let's do something really chill and vibey. But
that was fantastic, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually when we're writing, we're just like, we want to like write a song, then when we play it live, the crowd goes wild and everyone's freaking out and we're having like headbanging and having a good time. But so that, I think that really comes off on this record.
Well, it's funny you mentioned about the Really Want to Let You Down acoustic song. No one wants to create a bathroom song or a, hey, do you want a beer song kind of thing. You want to keep everyone's attention span. And in this day and age, that's a really difficult thing because even if, and I see this all the time previous to the pandemic, is people pull out their phone to take a photo of the band, which I have a thing about, do it quick. But as soon as you have your phone out, all of a sudden you see people go like, well, while my phone's out, I might as well check out Instagram and stuff. So there is a thing about capturing the attention span. Contrary to that, though, Really Want to Let You Down in acoustic form showed me, without you doing something different, it showed me another side of your collective musical prowess.
Ooh.
That's what we were going for. Like, when we talked about doing that, we thought, why not just make this us playing this song on acoustic guitar as we would if, I don't know, someone said, hey, we need you to play this song. We wanted to do something different, change up the chords, change up the vibe, and take the song in a new light that we thought like really translated as opposed to being like a radio banger. We changed the form up and we felt really good about it and got to, we're very electronic based. This was all acoustic, like acoustic piano, a real Hammond organ. It was like a whole, like on the production side too, a new experience for us, which was fun.
Yeah, it was like fun to have a vision for it where we're like, we're going to make this happen with these specific limitations in place. We're like, we don't really want to have electric instruments. I guess the Hammond is technically that's electric.
It's electromechanical.
That's true. But yeah, it was nice. Like, I know for me, like, I just love, usually I don't play a lot besides percussion and drums on our songs, but I do play other instruments. I usually just don't have to in this band. So when we were doing that, it was kind of nice to, like, I got to play piano and I got to play the organ and stuff like that. And it just feels nice to kind of stretch out and do something different. And Zach was like spinning together all these nice strings and, you know, all the guitars and stuff, just created a vibe that we've never explored before.
It was great. And also, Sally, like, your vocals were so honest. Like, there was a everything that, there's a lot of like, hey, we're a rock band. Like, I'm 10 feet tall. I'm going to like just destroy you. But it was really, it was beautiful. Like, I was thinking, like, this is a movie song. This is like the pinnacle moment of like a Garden State movie soundtrack kind of moment.
Ooh, well, thank you. It's so honestly nice to sing like that. Like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't get to do it often. And often I'm really, really, really jealous of people that, because I love acoustic music as well, and or folky music as well. So I'm often extremely jealous when I see people play live and it's like chill and beautiful and all this. And I'm like, oh, honestly, that would be so nice and so much, not, I don't want to say easier, not necessarily, but it's like what I do is so like an intense part of my voice, an intense part of my diaphragm use. It's like very gymnastics approach to using the voice, whereas that is just like ballet, you know, just like having the room to like sing these little things. And I love it, and I hope that I get to do more of it. It feels really freeing when you get to explore like the different places that your voice can be and not kind of be pigeonholed into one thing.
I thought it was just beautiful. And the other thing that I really liked about it was it wasn't a different song. Like, it didn't trick us with anything. Like, it was just, and it was that campfire test. It was that one note test. It's like, does this song have legs? If it was a reggae song, or all those things that you hear from producers being like, is this a good song or not? Are you tricking the audience into liking it? And it was great to know that in the case of Monowhales, that's not what they're doing. They're writing genuinely good music, and you can, you know, jump in a mosh pit and crowd surf to their music. But also, if you're, you know, if it's a rainy day and you're waiting for the bus, like, these songs will also, you know, hit you on that level too.
Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.
You are really giving us the love today.
Yeah, buttering us up.
Sorry, I'm excited. I am excited. Honestly, I get excited about how this band does things because I feel like you're doing it the right way. And I know I'm supposed to be asking you questions about this, but I think I'm overly excited about this release because, one, I am disappointed that I can't go to one of your really cool parties for the release because of the pandemic. I'm sure that you probably had amazing ideas for what you would do next. The previous music video release that I'm referring to, you did at a private film studio, which was it was so much fun. I think I told the story in the last one, but when we watched, oh my gosh, what song was it?
I really want to let you down.
Was it Really Want to Let You Down?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay. But I remember being like the closest guy to the door when you were like, okay, we're going to all watch the music video. And I sat like dead front in the middle, and I turned to, I think it was Phil Kluba that I was sitting beside. I'm like, man, I've known this band a long time. Really excited. He's like, I directed this music video. I'm like, and then I turned to my left and I'm like, there's Jordan. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong row. I'm like with the team. I'm like, you know what? Let's enjoy this. But I think the thing is that the whole process of this band, everything you guys do is just so top notch. It's been wonderful to watch you not be able to do the things you've done before and continue to level that up. But you released an album during the pandemic and you made it as equally special as if you were able to do the things that have made you so successful in the past.
I would fucking tear up, man.
Yes. All right. I'll turn it down. Well, I you guys have gone from 4 to 3 with the departure of Holly, which is unfortunate because I never got to interview her, but I'm going to get her on another thing. But I'll get her one day. I'll get her on the tell-all. But you have a new live member in the band, Gina Kennedy, which I was so pumped about. She also plays in Sky Wallace. She also has her own band with her husband, Altered by Mom, which we did a podcast recently with.
All about the 52 songs?
All about the 52 songs. I'll be honest, when I had to pick 3 songs, as I always do for the audio episodes, and I stayed up until like 3:45 in the morning because I couldn't pick one, because I was like, I don't know, song 35 might be better than song 18, but song 46 is really speaking to me right now. But in the addition of having a new 4th member, what's it like to add Gina into the fold for your live shows?
Been awesome.
And I'm already on an emotional tip too, but like it's been fantastic. Like she's such a positive influence to have, just in general, but to have her around, like when you're making music or going, like we haven't done the tour yet, but we've done like a couple shows here and there. So we already knew, like we know that the tours are going to be absolutely like the funnest time, the chillest times. And she's going to be on top of her shit, and she's going to look amazing performing because she knows how to do, she knows how to perform. You know, that's a thing. You can play your instrument, but also to perform, like it's a separate skill that she's mastered. So we're really excited to have her in the fold for so many different reasons.
Similar to, I always loved the story of when the Beatles brought in Billy Preston for the Let It Be sessions, and they kind of changed the dynamic of the room. Having her around, has it like changed the perspective of things in terms of how you see yourselves as a live band?
More, I haven't thought about that, but to me, like, the freshest thing is, you know, we've been a unit for a very long time, and I've been able to see us from a different perspective, having her in the room and just the way we interact with each other. And like to Sally's point too, she's a fresh breath of positivity. And I think it's allowed us to work together a lot more efficiently. And I forget your question. I'm just so she's done so much of that. It's just great. And playing with an electric bass player, it's been a minute for us. And obviously some of our songs already had electric bass, so it's been refreshing to perform live with an electric bass player, like. Especially for, I'm sure Jordan and I especially, but like these songs never have been performed as a band with a live electric bass player. Like I recorded the bass, so I've never played the songs with a bass player. It was like the most mind-blowing experience for me. It was just like, whoa, it's coming together in real life. Like, you know, the prophecy has come true.
Yeah.
It's so exciting for me. Yeah, that's what I couldn't get over. It's cool. I don't know if that answered your question. I forget.
As a bass player, I always love to hear that live bass players are important because they're starting to enter the tracks a little too regular with artists, and you know, I want to keep my gigs. So thank you, Zach. Bass players are important.
They make a difference. I know
just
for me,
faces.
like just getting to dig into the songs, like it feels different. Like I played along to those bass tracks for years, and you know, it's still fun because you just tend to focus on different things and enjoy. You know, the enjoyment comes from different things when you're playing along to that. But playing with a live bassist, it's like all those spaces in between the notes and the way that you lock in. It's so much more nuanced. So as a drummer, it's been an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask, this is a nerd question, but you moved spaces, rehearsal spaces. This isn't something that I think will get... I don't think many people are going to bring up the rehearsal space conversation in the other press that you're going to do. But as someone that understands what putting a band's gear and having a place to congregate, what does it feel to level up and have a fresh new space for new creative ideas?
Sally, go for it.
Yeah, that sounds like a Sally question right there.
Like laugh my way through it. No, I know we're all excited about it. I'm not the only one. Like we've been at that specific space for like 7 years.
It's like 7 years, yeah.
So it's like you get to a point where and as you know, like usually these rehearsal spaces are like no windows and like not very ventilated and there's noise. So you get to a point where you're just like, and even if you're living in an apartment where you're like, okay, this apartment isn't serving us anymore. Like it's becoming like a place of not wanting to create or like, you know what I mean? So for me, especially like, we're all into this, but for me especially, it's just like, this new space already. I feel like we're all excited to be there, and that makes the biggest difference. Like of all, to be in a new place and new perspective and
clean place.
It's a clean
with
ventilation. Like just like those small things that make a huge small things. Ventilation.
To be fair to the old place. It was only not clean because we didn't clean it.
No, we cleaned the shit out of it. No, but it had no ventilation really. It only had air blowing in.
Like the bathrooms and like all that kind of thing is like this place is legit. It's safe. It's clean, and it's like basically it's our new home. Like we're treating it like it's our home, and that's really nice.
Yeah, the old space, like. We did a lot of great work on that, great work in it, honestly. And it's funny because, near the end, all that stuff, I would show up with Jordan and Sally, and I'd be like, it's gotten too ugly. We'd feel sick after an hour of being in there. Like, legit, we'd feel sick. Like, too much dust. And I can't believe the amount of awesome work we did in there because it was not the best place to be in for us.
Yeah.
But a lot of good memories, though.
Of course. And you'll always have those memories, but it's always nice to go to a new place and have just like apartments. You're like, hey, you know what? Let's put the couch over here. And this one, it's, you probably like Jordan, for example, you might be like, hey, I don't want to walk over my hi-hats and every time to go to practice. And like, I'm projecting a drummer, a dear friend of mine, Jason Ciparone.
I still have to do that. They won't let me be in a place where I don't have to do that.
We don't make this about that. Come on. We have
literally like it's 100% of the time. It's like, okay, like you set up the drums. They're like, what would be great is if the drums could be like a little bit more like over there. Can you put it more like put it right in that corner, like right in there, and then I'm like crawling over all this shit. That's just the drummer's life, man.
Yeah, you picked it.
That's it. Yeah, you picked it. Yeah, thank you.
It's true.
Yeah.
But it is nice to kind of just have a fresh start because as much as much as you live on the airwaves, as much as you live through your music videos to your audience, as much as you're on stages all over this country and soon all over the world, your home is your rehearsal space. That's where you guys get together. That's where you complain to each other. That's where you argue, you bicker, but that's where you're a family. And I think it's really important. I'm really excited to see what a new creative space for you. I mean, if you were artists and painters, like this would be so obvious that this would be the space you'd be most conducive in. I'm excited to see what this new space is going to be for a band, for a family, It's like your family moved into a new house.
It felt that way.
It really does.
This whole past year has been new beginnings for us. Whether it's, Holly departing, this new record, new jam space, a new approach to working together. It's been really cool. Yeah. Total shift in everything for us.
Yeah. I think that we're like on the best track as like individuals and as that like unit we've ever been on. So that's positive to know that under the worst possible circumstances, we were able to create so much. So I'm looking forward to like now being in a much healthier place and see what we can like create together.
So, well, Jordan, Zach, Sally, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is the first time I've had all three of you at once. This is our third episode. It will hopefully not be our last. I can almost, it won't be on my end. I could do this with you every single week. This could be all about the Monowhales as far as I'm concerned.
You got a new podcast there.
Well, as I always ask to end our conversation, what's next for you all?
We've been doing a lot of writing, as that's all we could do. So we're actually going to start recording another record next month.
Wow.
Get in the studio. We're doing it again. Get in.
Yeah.
Recording. Yeah, no, we've have a lot under our sleeves. Like, we've had so much time to put this together, and we're excited. And honestly, we're still promoting this. Go get this. It's a very important, but we are also, like, as we've always said, and you've always had us, and we say we're always trying to be 10 steps ahead. Like, that thing is here, and we're already here trying to move towards the next thing. So there's always next. Like, we never have a moment of not having something next.
Fantastic.
And also, before we go, I just want to say, this being our third anniversary of being on your podcast, you are fantastic. You are killing it. Like, we were on episode 6, you said, looking now. So in the same vein, like, people come to me and they say, like, yeah, I'm going to be on this podcast. And I'm like, oh, what is it? And they're like, all about the song. I'm like, oh, like, I know, you know what I mean? So you've also gained this notoriety, and I hope that it just keeps going from here, because I think you're doing a fantastic job. Well,
thanks, Sally. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Zach. Thank you all for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having us, Mike. It was a great Saturday morning coffee.
Absolutely. And go buy Daytona Bleach.
I will.
Thanks so much, guys.
My soul.
Oh man, congratulations! It's such a good album. I don't know. I'm pumped. I'd like to thank Sally, Jordan, and Zach for being on the podcast. Please go check out their album, Daytona Bleach. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so great. I've been listening to All or Nothing today multiple times. Man, what a great band. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for a guest you'd like to hear on the podcast, send us an email, allaboutthesongpodcast@gmail.com. We are at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are there. Please rate and subscribe. For past episodes, check out our website, www.allaboutthesongpodcast.com. And again, on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification button. Leave us a comment. We're glad you're with us today, and be ready for more episodes next week. So for Sally, Jordan, and Zach of the band Monowhales, I am Michael McDonnell. Episode 127 is in the books. We'll see you next week.